Hi guys, Scott here from Outlaw Garage. Today we're here with an RWB Porsche Unicorn, originally from Japan many years ago, now here in Melbourne. We've got a bit of a random video today. This is an original early RWB from Japan. So we're not going for a drive today because there's actually some work happening on the car and we will cover that in a moment. But we thought we'd take the opportunity to get some of the history and some of the story behind this, because this, originally from Japan, this car is maybe 25 years old, originally built by Nakai-san, and we're going to go through a bit of the story with the owner, Costa, about how it turned up and what happened. And then we'll probably end up doing a bit of a series with this. We'll take it for a spin, we'll get the boys together with our other RWBs and we'll have a bit of a laugh. But how long have you had this in Melbourne?
It's going back to close to 4 months now.
Yeah. I was going to say, because like it was the last Cars and Coffee event, depending on when I drop this video, of course, that we saw this.
Yeah.
Parked a little bit out the way, respectfully.
Yes. Yeah, that's
and I was like, what are you doing back there? Bring it forward.
Well, I'm new to the game. Soon I'll be parking at the front like you, with a bigger wing. I do call it the Unicorn because I like to see things that other people probably don't see. And this came up on car sales. I had heard about a possible RWB when I was in Japan, being in Perth or Sydney. So whether it's this car or not, I'm not sure. So as it evolved, I saw it come up, and the guy that owned it is quite a famous in the community racer called Wayne Seabrook. I made contact with him and he said, I'm away overseas and I'll be back in 2 weeks. And I thought, that won't last that long, so I'm going to take a punt. I did my research, I found out who he was. The community knew him, they spoke well of him. And as it turned out, he was a Goodwood for the festival.
Oh wow.
And he was sending me even the Singer that had released their Porsche, the new one.
Yeah, the turbo.
This sort of colour.
Yep.
The massive wing. So he was sending me all these, and we got to be mates on the phone. I said, look, if we agree on a price, I'll transfer your deposit sight unseen and you take it off car sales, which he did. And then I lost contact with him because he didn't have, I'm thinking, hang on, this guy's got all these cars but he's got no coverage and he's not, now I'm thinking it's a bit of a scam. I thought, oh well, it is what it is. He got back, I was going to fly out to Sydney to see it. I said, just send me a video, I'll get it on a truck. I wanted the deal to happen quickly.
Yeah.
And it came not that smoothly, I must say, with the company that brought it over, but it got here and I just loved it more. It didn't matter that it wasn't perfect, I just absolutely adored it.
Yeah, because it isn't perfect.
No.
However, this is the original paint from Japan. It's imperfectly perfect, I think is probably a term I'd use. Because
you and I both love patina.
Yeah.
So I love that it's got its war stories. It's probably been raced. The front lip I catch all the time. Porsche Melbourne was so kind to actually take this on for a major service and loved it as much as I did. Normally they'd be purists and they don't like hot rods, but they absolutely adored it. They looked after me and I managed to get 5 mil up just with the suspension the way it is without modifying.
Yep.
So it's almost enough if you get the right angle. Otherwise, you get those horrible scrapes.
Yeah, you can get a bit of rubbing. But Porsche Melbourne are very kind to the RWB community because they also service Churn's car, I believe, as well. So they are they're a supporter.
There's 4 or 5 Porsche mechanics I've used who are meant to be. You're meant to see them because it's going to save you some money, but there's always surprises from the quote. It's always higher. Porsche quoted it and came in at more than gentle, you know, like. So
did it just need a major service because it had been sat for?
It sat for a long time.
Yeah, okay.
He had Wayne had serviced it, and I got receipts for that in Sydney, and then we went from just check it over, give me a quote of what it needs, we'll put a plan together and we'll keep working on it.
Yeah.
And so the head mechanic said, I think it's a bit noisy. I'm going to do the tappets and make it a major service.
Yep.
And it's so much quiet. It's not quiet in the exhaust, but it's quieter in the engine noise and the mechanical
Well, to be honest
noise.
with you, I was going to say it's probably out of major service, and doing the tappets and things when it's been sat for a little while is a good idea. What's this based on? Is it a 3.2?
3.2, 86.
Okay.
They think it's got a stroker kit.
Yeah.
To 3.4. They said it just feels a little bit
Like it's got a bit more in it.
Yeah. So in the back here, it's interesting, and I don't know if it's form or function, but it's based on the IROC 3-litre RSRs. I think that was the vision, and they had these caps straight through exhaust, and if you take them off, you're meant to drive it to the track, take your caps off, gain 10 horsepower and some noise, and we're yet to know. I haven't taken them off yet if they actually are there for aesthetics or if they're actually functional.
And at the moment it's getting in...
Yes, we've got this beautiful wing which is original. I wouldn't dare touch it.
No.
It's the biplane, which he's famous for, big wings, but this would be early day stuff.
Yeah.
And Wagner, I think, is a tuning house, is it?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. We might have a look at that, or someone in the comments below.
Warner, sorry, not Wagner. Warner. So,
and then you're just swapping it over at the moment.
I've got a singer in a singer style ducktail, as they say, a little bit bigger than a normal ducktail.
Yeah.
We're going to try and match the paint, and if I'm not happy with it, I'll just make it a different colour.
Yeah. Well, you could probably paint it black, and it could sit black, and that's not a problem at all. Actually imported from Japan, then went to the States.
Perth. Perth for some reason, and then I think Wayne had got in touch with the owner, and he had a container, 2 containers of cars and bits, and he wouldn't know about RWB, I don't think, because he's a little bit older.
Yeah.
But
okay.
he didn't care. I said, it looks to me like it could be an earlier RWB, and he said, what's that? So, it worked out to fall into place nicely. It's a keeper for me.
Yeah.
And a work in progress. And like my Japanese restaurant, the Japanese architect, even though I don't have to, even if there's a little paint to do on the wall, we sit down and we discuss it over sake for 2 hours, and then whatever he says goes. So that's what I'll be doing if I get the opportunity.
Well, Nakai is here again in August.
Yeah.
Got a build here in Melbourne, and probably a couple of builds. I think Sydney is going to get a build this time, and Perth are always churning out a couple of RWBs, so he's going to be there for that, and we'll get him to spend a little bit of time with his car, because we've heard it straight from his mouth that this is a car he built. So there's no disputing it when you've got inside knowledge like that.
Now the stickers I'm recreating, I'm going to copy and get them redone.
Yeah.
I'd love to get a vintage RWB front.
Yeah, I think we're going to hit churn up for one of those. Let's see if we can make sure the camera focuses. There we go. The vintage decals.
And as Scott kindly told me, this tuner, Hanabusa, is one of his early tuners that he worked with in Japan.
Yeah. So previously owned the car.
Oh, he owned it?
Owned the car, yeah. So I think he was the first owner. And then, like we said, this is the original colour, and you can kind of see the patina and where it's had stickers and stuff on it, and how the paint has aged. But to be honest with you, it's actually
not bad.
I don't think it's bad at all. I don't think. And even the old Porsche badge on the front there.
If I do replace this, I will put that on the dash.
Yeah.
In homage to the original car, but yeah, all of that stuff's lovely the way it is.
And then obviously the front lip, it would have had perhaps one of the rubber lips on it at some point. It's not too low.
It is.
But I get that scratch it and bump it every now and again.
I'll tell you what is slow. So you see the oil cooler here runs the lines down the underneath. Well, I've collected it, whether it was damaged before, but they often kink in. So I've got those ordered, and I've discovered that it's got another one under the hood. So 2 oil coolers.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'd imagine if they raced it a fair bit, or
well, it was
even if it was on track, or if it was, you know, down a back street in Japan, I'd imagine.
Well, they were built for that midnight run.
Yeah.
In Tokyo, and my dream would be to get this and drive it in Tokyo one day.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, the RWB New Year's party, that'd be one to turn up in, that's for sure. Yeah. And it's got decals on the bumpers here. We will try and show plenty of the detail because not many people would have either seen these decals or seen this car. Team MSMs,
and of course the old, probably original Roughhouse.
Yeah, sticker. The Rauh-Welt sticker. It's amazing, really. So obviously the shape of the kit is a little bit different, and the rear ones, there's been a bit of an inspection on those, and they might be an early Kevlar instead of obviously the fiberglass kit that we get with the RWBs now. I don't know why. I think it is the same width as the RWBs now. It does look a little bit different, but I don't know if it's just because it's got the vent at the rear and then the vent at the front, like it's almost like a turbo scoop, isn't it?
Well, they're functional.
Yeah.
And then have a look at the front fenders are wide.
Yeah. Yeah, they're a lot different to what you get with an RWB now. That rear venting and how it shapes out from the fender itself, how it curves round, comes round the sticker there, and then how that vents through. And it is a vent that actually vents. It's not there for ornamental reasons. And there it is. Just the kit's, I don't know if it just looks a little bit of a different shape to the cars nowadays, but I guess they evolved over a period of time, but it's a cracking kit.
Well, this blending was early, wasn't it? Now it's kind of all done, and then I love the rivets too.
Yeah, you can either go the rivets or the smooth.
Oh, they do that.
Smooth fenders. Yep, you can do the smooth fender, and it's I guess once you've done the kit, you can get that done afterwards. But it's definitely unique. That down there. Yeah, it's fascinating, really. And then when we saw it and we made a load of inquiries with Churn and Nakai-san around what it was, I think he'll be blown away to see it actually here in Melbourne. We'll pick him up one day in it and take him off to the next build.
It'd be like revisiting an old girlfriend.
Yeah, it's
you know,
I think it's fascinating, and we'll get more of the history now because obviously we've only got some of the story from text messages and bits from Nakai and how it's kind of gotten. But there's some history behind this, and it's actually it's pretty stock inside, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like yes, there's the steering wheel.
Trim.
Yeah, navy trim there. Seats are black. They look like they've been retrimmed at some point.
Yeah, they're electric, but I wouldn't mind going back to some classic race seats. I'll get his opinion on that and make it a little.
Yeah, because they are the comfort seats.
Yeah, and they do work very well. But I'd like something a little bit more retro, I think.
What's the suspension on it?
Nothing crazy. It's been redone.
Yeah.
And it's not coilovers or anything like that.
It's just stock suspension.
Yeah.
So we're talking wheels because we did spot that these are not your typical RWB
No,
wheels.
They're like a classic Fuchs.
Yeah.
11's on the back, 9's on the front. with spaces to make them fit nicely in the guard.
Yeah.
But the original wheels would have been wilder from him, and I'm trying to get a hold of them because they're probably not much good to...
So he has the original wheels as well?
I'm hoping.
Hoping so.
Yeah. Or he'll know where he's...
where to get them.
Where to get them. So the guys in Sydney, Zag Automotive, do you know those guys? They do a lot of backdate.
Yeah, okay.
964 Singer type thing. And he gets a lot of bits, but his nephew had these and he wanted something else for his build. So I think it's a great fit. But the original one, anything I can get that was original with the car, I'll try and do. Interestingly, I found out when I took it to Porsche, and then was trying to re-register on club plates here, is that in 1986, for 1 year only, they had 2 VIN numbers. So this has got a VIN number from Europe and a VIN number, I think, from the States or Japan. So Porsche picked that up, and they were trying to look for the car when they were searching for bits and bobs. So we're starting to document some interesting history on it. But
yeah,
that's it.
Normally they have one in the window as well, and it doesn't have one there. But it'll have it under the hood on the chassis number and the VIN on the hood in there.
It's a lovely thing though.
Just a
absolute thing of beauty.
What a find on car sales.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely wanted to come down today to get it.
It got a lot of abuse when he sold it.
Yeah?
Took it off. He had 10 friends and collectors saying, "Why didn't you tell me? You know, you said you'd show me," and all this sort of stuff. And he said, "Oh, well, you know, it just fell into place."
Well, this is the first of what is probably going to be a bit of a mini-series with this RWB Porsche. Just in the garage today, catching up with the owner, Costa, as we go through a bit of the history of the car. We are going to find out more about it because we're going to get Nakai-san with the car. And be prepared, we're hitting the road with it very soon. See you guys, bye.